Andrew, do you know who Chase Young is?
Yeah, of course.
No. My point is, I don't either.
Before I said that Cade Cunningham would never be an All-Star, and I just wanted to double down on that.
Oh,
I just.
We're back
What's going
with
on with
another.
Mike's video?
I know.
Conference championship week. The results are in. The Super Bowl matchup has been set, and there's a lot more going on in the NFL. Here we go.
Whoa, I made
What
it
up,
in the show.
jam packed? Andrew's on his own schedule. What? What up,
I
jam
made
packed?
it.
I'm MK. I'm your host here with John M83, Little Bro, and Uncle Drew. Did Mike just all of a sudden like late? What's the deal? Where's Tesla Mace at? Somebody go look for that guy. Along
He
with
adopted my
you guys,
schedule.
was that?
He took on
He's
my
on your
schedule,
schedule?
now, so we switched
Y'all
places.
flip schedules now? That's funny. Got a special guest with us tonight, Jack.
Hey, let's go.
Jack, what's going on? Welcome. There's Tesla
There he
Mace.
is.
What's going on, fellas? How you doing tonight?
Good, man.
Don't sound too excited.
Too
And Tesla's gone. Sweet. Well, let's run down the. There's definitely a lot to talk about. Tesla Mace was definitely fired up earlier today. We'll talk about that in a minute. Philadelphia handedly got the win, 55-23 over the Commanders. Did Washington even look like they had a chance? Mike, you're muted.
Mike, you're on mute.
Bro.
I was gonna let Andrew talk since he thought Washington would win.
I picked the Eagles to win, guys. Come on. I picked the Lions to beat the Commanders. I didn't even pick them to even make it that far. So
You guys are too much.
pick my pick.
Jack, what's
my pick.
Washington's rush defense has been terrible all year. I mean, that was literally the epitome of it. They barely beat the B team of the Eagles back in week 17 or 18. They had no chance in this game, and it really showed. It was unfortunate. They did have a couple of costly fumbles. I felt like, they just had to stop, get down 11, and Austin Eckler, of all players, lost a fumble as they were driving. So it would have been interesting to see what happened had it got a little closer. But the reality is they can't stop the run, and that's what the Eagles do. So, I mean, that's you can't blame Jaden Daniels for this loss. He played well. I thought he played pretty well. But overall, the defense. My thing is, if you're an NFL coach and your name is Dan, do all kickers hate you? Because you just literally always go for it. Like, I don't understand why Dan Gamble is now the new coach of the NFL across multiple teams. Like, I don't get it.
Well, you're down by a lot.
No, I'm talking like the
Well,
first drive.
that's
Like
first drive.
times he
First
went for it
drive.
on fourth down,
Fake
and
punt
he
too.
still kicks a field goal. Like, I don't get it. Like, I mean, I don't know. And then even the fake punt. I mean, they just. If you're a kicker, if you're a field goal kicker, like he doesn't really show a whole lot of confidence in his field goal kicker, and that's unfortunate.
Just to
It took
highlight
one
the
play.
turnovers, didn't they scored on every on turnover, right? I think they scored points on every single turnover.
Yeah.
So that's just salt in the wound, right? Like you got to be able to at least try to stop. And I know that they on the turnovers, I think 2 of them were on the other side, so that didn't help because they gave the team a short field.
One
Yeah, I mean,
play.
I think Washington came out 8-minute drive, puts up 3, and
Yeah.
literally 5 seconds into the drive, very first play, 65-yard touchdown, Saquon Barkley. You're down 7-3. Like,
Saquon,
I mean,
though.
that was literally just the game right there, and yeah, Giants are just being the Giants, watching this guy go off with the Eagles. It's incredible.
How you feeling about this win, Jack?
Feeling good, dude. I mean, I was nervous with how aggressive Dan Quinn is, coming into the game, especially with just everything he showed going for it on 4th down so often against the Lions too. But yeah, those turnovers I think were one of the biggest things for the Eagles, just forcing those, because I mean they led the league in forced turnovers all year, right? And then if you execute that against Washington, it led to them hanging 55, the most in a conference championship game ever. And then plus, just like Mason had said, that rush defense of Washington hasn't been great. And then you put Saquon against them, like the best running back in the league. What do you expect?
You mean running the ball in the playoffs helps? What? There's no way. I wonder who said that. What kind of philosophy is that?
I think I
They
read
had three rushing touchdowns by both Hurts and Saquon. I mean, 6 rushing touchdowns in one game. That's pretty
Isn't
incredible.
that wild?
Yeah, I think I read some stats that like 200 plus passing yards, 200 plus rushing yards, 7 touchdowns. Like, not only has it ever been done in the playoffs, I don't think it's ever been done in NFL history in any game at all. Like, it was just a complete smackdown from Philadelphia, basically. And that Barkley guy is pretty good. And now I keep seeing those clips of the Giants GM talking about everyone telling him to get Jaden Daniels and to keep Barkley and all that. And I'm just like, wow. That's a really embarrassing clip. Like that 17-year-old kid, his 17-year-old kid telling him like, you only get the job once. I'm like, oh man, that's embarrassing. But anyways, hindsight, right?
I was watching the game with our resident Eagles fan Oscar, and I will highlight Saquon Barkley. He might pretty soon be my favorite player, and I'm saying this, Jack, as a Niners fan. I think it's just the person that he is. So it's obviously he's a great player, right? But what I saw when Will Shipley did his thing, and he was just pumping Shipley up at the end, and just like just hyping him up, and just man, that I would feel so good with a veteran of Barkley's caliber just hyping me up and pumping me up at the end. I thought that was really cool because he didn't have to. Barkley could have said, "Hey, I'm done. I'm gonna go sit on the bench. I've done my part. You guys do the rest, right?" But I thought it was really cool. Good leadership, good veteran presence, and it seems like an all-around good guy.
Yeah, his pass blocking is underrated too. There were a couple times that Washington came on the blitz, and he got in there and just whether it was Wagner or whether it was Tululu, it was he just blocked them. I mean, he steps up, he does what he needs to do, man, and talk about a kid who's as humble as he is. I mean, even that last game sitting out, letting other guys not go for the record, like that just proves he is what he is. And even after the first touchdown, I mean, if you saw him, he's like, hey, quiet down, crowd. Went back. I mean, it wasn't this dance and all this stuff. It's kind of embarrassing, to be honest, when I saw Jaden Daniels doing this dance in the end zone when they're down like 16 points, and I'm like, what are you guys celebrating? Like, you just got a touchdown, but you're still losing substantially. So, whereas Barkley just literally runs back to the sideline and back at it. So
you're losing by 30 points, you get the first down, you got to celebrate.
Yeah.
I think that rookie just happy to be there, guys. Let's be real, man. That's a pretty amazing rookie season.
Yeah, that was incredible.
He probably doesn't feel bad at all. I mean, everybody hates losing, but overall, looking at your season as a rookie coming in the NFL, you're like, man, this could not have gone any better, right?
Well,
yeah, I disagree. I think everyone knows getting to the NFC Championship, like you may only have 1 or 2 chances in your career, and I think I mean, yes, it was overachievement, but when you get to that moment, it's like, man, 2 games away
so close
from winning a ring. I mean, it's just I mean, outside of Kansas City, like how often do we see these dynasties, right? Patriots, Kansas City over the past few years, but the reality is it's just so dang difficult, to repeat. They let it go, but he played better than I thought, man. You get a rookie quarterback in the road, NFC Championship atmosphere. I mean, he had a couple great plays early on in that game that really kept him in it. So I mean, I give him all the credit in the world. Um, he stepped up, but I think at the same time there was just he could have just done a little bit more, and the fumbles were unfortunate. I mean that literally just changed the game for him. So
As a rookie, coming in, leading your team in passing yards, obviously, but also rushing yards. That's usually not a good sign for a team to even go deep into the playoffs when you don't have somebody else leading that charge in rushing. But we'll talk more about Philadelphia here in a minute. Let's go on to the recap of Kansas City Buffalo. Kansas City gets this squeak by win, 32-29, yet again. Definitely. Well, I knew the game was going to be close. But what do we want to talk about more? Kansas City's win or how close Buffalo should have gotten?
I mean, I'd really just like you guys to say that Kansas City won and deserves to be in the Super Bowl, but I don't think that's going to happen for some reason.
So instead of saying that, I'm just going to say that I called for the last 2 weeks the first touchdown in the Kansas City game, so I got Kareem Hunt on 2 of them. I'm going to talk about that. I was happy about that. That's the one thing I'll be happy about Kansas City.
Listen, here's my take on Kansas City. If you told me that Travis Kelce would end with less than 30 yards, Pacheco would get 15 yards rushing, and they would put up 30 plus points for the first time all season, I would not believe you that they would win this game. I would not believe it. I mean, all of a sudden, Mahomes has all of these weapons. Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is a third or fourth option when you had Kelce out there. Like, that offense really looked good for the first time all season. It was like, oh, Mahomes is down. Their scoring's down. They're relying on defense. And don't get me wrong, Buffalo had some injuries. I get it. Unfortunate that they lost another guy to a concussion 2 weeks in a row. But the reality is, even the game plan, Andy Reid came out with these RPOs, and I mean, Mahomes is just chucking the ball 10, 15 yards. It was like first down, like the first drive of the game. I mean, he's just the best coach. I mean, it's really the best coach with a good quarterback, with a good system, with a great defensive coordinator. It's going to be hard to beat and match that. And Josh Allen they lost the turnover battle and they still win. I mean, like what needs to happen for them to lose? And the reality is everyone could say, oh, Kincaid, when he fell on that one, he had the first down. Well, you know what? Buffalo went fast to try on that fourth down play. They would have went slow. They could have been challenged, right? They could have challenged it themselves because it was outside of 2 minutes. Well, maybe don't run the QB sneak off the left side like you did 5 times that game. The tush push, I guess I should say. Like, it didn't work the first 4 times, so let's do it again. Like, give the ball to Cook. He's been tearing it up like this whole thing, and he wasn't even in the game on their first down. Like, there's so many issues. This is a Bills loss as much as it is a Chiefs win, but let's not put it on the refs is all I want to say in this.
Ain't nobody said anything about refs this conversation.
I know, because y'all said it through text. So,
but Mike, to answer your question, what's it going to take is Philadelphia needs to score more than 30 points.
So
Chiefs have only lost twice this season. One was they gave it away, right? They played all their bench players. They gave up 30. They lost 38-0. The other time was against the Bills, who scored. What was it? 32 points. That's it. No one else has scored over 30 points on them all season. No one else has beat them all season. So Philadelphia's got to score, I think, 30 points to win this game. Like, I think that's what they got to do.
The only thing that I'll agree with Mike is that they were outcoached, by far outcoached. You're absolutely right, and you can't call the exact same tush push 5 times and only be successful once. You don't run it like Philadelphia runs it. You can't go to the exact same hole as tall. What is Josh Allen, 6'6"?
Yeah,
6'5"?
Yeah, something like that. I'm 6'5".
Yeah.
I'm like, he's a massive dude. You can't stand straight
boy.
up, right? Jalen Hurts isn't standing straight up when he's getting the tush push. Like he almost hides behind the line. Like you,
Well, and if
sometimes
you
you can't
think
even tell where
about
he's
it,
at.
Jalen Hurts does it behind the center. I was really thinking about this,
Exactly.
right? When you look at your line, your left guard is further back. So Jalen Hurts
Right.
is already behind the center. I mean,
Mhm.
he's only got an inch to go at that point from hiking the ball. And you know the center moves the ball up, right? I mean, before they
Right.
hike it, they're all putting it at a little inch, 2 inches here and there. So I mean, I just don't understand why they, and I mean it was a tendency. Romo called it out really early. Oh, let's see if they go over the left side like Josh Allen likes to
Exactly.
do. And what did Kansas City do? Put three guys on their right side, which would be the left side for the offense. And I mean, it worked every time. And I'm just like, you did it again, even on 4th and inches. Like you did it again. And yes, it may have been a bad spot. But don't put yourself in that position. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, go run the ball with Cook. It didn't work 4 times. Let's give Cook the ball. Right?
Here's where Buffalo, for me, here's where Buffalo went wrong. Is they started to get predictable. When a high school coach can look and say, "Oh man, they're gonna blow it again." Really, it's short yardage. They're gonna do a tush push. Josh Allen's gonna go to the left side, right? Like when you start to get predictable, I mean, like the NFL coaches are gonna catch that way before I catch it. I shouldn't be catching that from home and going, "Come on, guys, really?" John, what was your take?
How about Xavier Worthy? This kid only missed one target, man. Like 6 for 7, 85 yards. He can stretch the field. He's that
Yeah.
deep threat when you need it. He can hit the slant route and just like hit it hard when you need it. I think. I mean, he's probably the number 1 receiver. I don't know. I think he played the number 2 at certain times, but to be that young on a team that's so highlighted and so watched, I guess, all the time. I think he held the standard really high and had a really good game and has kind of had a good season. So I think
For
this
a
kid's
rookie
something.
too, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, just for the future of this franchise, they're in good hands if this kid's doing this, year after year.
For those that watch or that are watching right now that aren't quite familiar with the game and watched the Kansas City Buffalo game, there was a play where a Buffalo player looked like he intercepted it, landed on top of the Kansas City player. They called it a catch, right? Went back and reviewed it, the call stood, basically. The actual rule, if there is a tie, like there's simultaneous possession by both the offense and defense, the tie will always go to the offense. And he doesn't even have to have majority of the possession. All he needs is to have his hands on the ball. If they both go down and they're both holding the ball, the tie will always go to the offense. And that's what happened. I know a lot of Buffalo fans are going to be like, "Oh, that wasn't a catch. That was an interception. My guy had more possession of the ball." It doesn't matter.
Listen, there was a defensive holding call on that play anyway. So even if they did reverse it or did call it an interception, you're talking about a difference of like 10 yards or 7 yards, but it's still Kansas City ball. I did think that would get overturned to an incomplete pass at least because it did look like the ball hit the ground. But the reality is, like I said, even if it was, it's Kansas City first down regardless. You know what's interesting, John? John, now that you mentioned that, so with Xavier Worthy, I'm trying to think back that game, and I watched it. Is I don't think I saw Mahomes throw the ball past maybe 15, 20 yards. Like there wasn't one play where I remember them like truly stretching the field.
But I
Maybe
guess
on
my
that
point.
3rd and 15 or something. But I feel like versus Philadelphia, they're gonna need to take some deep shots, right? Because Worthy is that
Yeah.
deep guy too. Like, but it's in stride slants. You're right. I mean, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying, I do you remember any deep shots in that game at
No.
all from Kansas City?
No, if I said it wrong, I apologize because I mean he can stretch the field. I guess that's what I
Right.
meant to say, right? Like
Right.
14.2 yards per catch on average is he can stretch the field. But I know he did a lot of it was yak, right? Yards out to catch, and
Right.
and that boy's fast. So
I guess
Well-
my point is the Eagles are just need to know that, right? Like, hey,
correct.
let's force them to do a double move and beat us deep, right? If we force them to go deep, I don't know. I feel like Buffalo kind of let them off the hook. They were so worried about getting beat deep that they had these 8, 9, 10 yard routes that they were doing back and forth. Now the one thing I do little gripe I have against Worthy, I don't know how many times I saw that jump back cut. And there were a couple times where it was like third down and it worked out, but I'm like, dude, if you just lost the first down by jumping backwards, I'm gonna be really mad as a coach. So that is something I think he over time. I get it. He's quick. He's agile. He's fat. Acceleration. But when you're playing against better cornerbacks than the Buffalo Bills have, that jump cut, you're gonna get tackled, and now it's 4th and 1 or 4th and 2 because you didn't just go forward. So that was the only little thing I noticed. Little you know nuance I guess I saw from him. But yeah, you're right with all of what you said.
I'm going to add to what you said, Mike. He didn't have to push the ball down the field because the play designs of Andy Reid, these crossing rub routes that, like, he teaches his receivers how to fake a rub or a screen without actually touching the defender. And just all you need is the defender to hesitate. That's all you need him to do to get your wide receiver wide open. I mean, he's running full speed. He knows where he's going to go for his route. All I have to do is get my defender somewhat in the way of the other guy crossing my way, and now I'm wide open. And if you watch some of those plays, some of those passing plays, I mean, guys were just wide open 5 yards down the field. Didn't have to be, or 8 yards, 9 yards down the field. They didn't have to be 15. I mean, they're wide open. And once you get the ball and you're that open, I mean, the yak yards just start to climb. It's a easier throw anyway. Whatever.
Exactly.
Which is where I think Buffalo just got outcoached. Like, you can't. Andy Reid's been doing it for a long time with a lot of different teams, right? Did it in Green Bay, did it in Philly, like still doing it with Kansas City. And he's gotten Mahomes to understand, like, okay, this is not going to open up here on the first step. But once they get that rub, that second window is going to open up. Boom, he's going to be wide open, right? What I will give, the only reason why I'm glad Kansas City did win, because I think Kansas City's defense would match up well with Philly's offense. I don't think Buffalo would have had any chance if Buffalo would have advanced. I mean, they had a hard time with Kansas City as it was. They're not a good rush team or rush defensive team, and Philly would have just ate that up. I do think, however, Kansas City does match up well defensively against Philly. So it'll be interesting to see.
See,
Now,
I think I disagree a little bit with that, in that I feel like Kansas City's defense is better against the pass than the run. As even seen by James Cook going off for like 90 yards in the limited amount of carries he had. So I think this may actually be an Eagles advantage on the offensive side, because they have such a run heavy offense. I feel like Kansas City has a better pass defense than the rush defense. And
okay, let me ask you this then. You're the defensive coordinator for Kansas City. Who are you more worried about, Cook or Josh Allen?
oh, Josh Allen, no doubt.
Definitely. You're game planning for Josh Allen. You're not game planning for James Cook.
Yeah.
So they're trying to force them to run the ball because they want James Cook to beat them, not Josh Allen to beat them.
Yeah, but they even stopped Josh Allen's legs too, right? I mean, that was the big thing, is they played QB spy with their linebacker quite a bit as well. So I guess Jalen Hurts, he's got the weapons on the outside. Goddard,
Right.
since he's came back from injury, has looked like a
good.
beast. And the
Yeah.
reality is, I'm a little like, if you're going for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, you're a little worried, because do you force Jalen Hurts to throw the ball and just put 8 in the box? And if you do, you're talking one-on-one coverage with AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, and Goddard on the outside, or in the post, and yet you still have Saquon back there, potentially catching balls, and they are a stacked offense, no matter what anyone says, and it should be pretty impressive. So I know I'm jumping ahead, but
No, you're good. So our Super Bowl matchup here
can I
is gonna
talk
be,
about one more thing before we go there?
Yeah.
Because I saw something I've never seen before in that Eagles game. The Washington guy to Lobo to what's his name?
Oh yeah.
Jumping
Lulu,
that
yeah. The offside on the
the
goal
tush
line.
push three straight. Oh no, offside. It was 2 straight times he jumped over it. Um,
That was crazy.
and then the third time, another offsides, and the refs are saying, "Hey, if you keep doing this, we're gonna award you a touchdown." And I'm like, "What? I've never heard of this rule before." So, I did notice Jalen Hurts though when he took the snap on the last one to get that last tush push, he was a little worried about that guy coming over the top and hitting him. So it looked like he actually almost fumbled the ball. In my appearance. So, but I mean, what do you do as a defense? Like, it's and I don't think they were doing it intentionally. So I feel like it was wrong of the refs to kind of threaten them, right? It's all about timing, and he was just trying to time it. Like, I don't think he was doing it with any malintent or
Mhm.
trying to actually hurt him. It's literally like you cannot stop that play for a half yard, and if the penalty is going to be a quarter inch, why not try to time it? I don't know. I've never seen that before though. I thought that was pretty incredible. Because even the Eagles were kind of like, "What the heck's going on?" And the refs can award you a score. That was the first I've heard of that. So kind of.
I thought the snap looked like it was low on that last one, so it looked like Jalen Hurts had to reach because it was so low.
Okay.
But you're right. Like on the 1 inch line, like as a defense, how do you stop them? Like you could crowd and literally go shoulder to shoulder, but I think it does make some sort of sense if the safety or whoever can just kind of time it. But I guess if you're going to get punished for timing it so many times, then I get that point too. There's really nothing you could do is the answer to stop that. When you're on the 1 inch line, you're like, all right, I'd almost be willing to say just let them score so we can just move on and and try to just keep going past that because I don't know how to stop that. That's really tough to do.
Well, I think they even said at one point it's a personal foul, in sportsmanlike conduct. I'm like, well, who cares? It's still a half inch.
Yeah.
Correct.
I mean, you get the first down, so I mean, instead of second, it's first. But I mean, I was like, just keep doing it. Who cares if they call in sportsmanlike conduct?
Yeah.
It's literally your only chance to stop it.
But I wonder though if you get the unsportsmanlike conduct, I wonder if that counts against you from an ejection standpoint. Like, could you get too many of
I would
those?
think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Probably.
The only time they give a point like that was like in the 50s, and then somebody from the sideline tackled the runner, and they just gave them the point. The other team the point.
Oh wow!
So you got your Super Bowl matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and Kansas City Chiefs. Does that sound familiar?
2 years ago.
Does it? So here's my question to everyone. 1, who are you taking? 2, who do you think is going to have a good game? And Siri's talking to me. All right. John, I want you up first.
Okay, so not just because we have Eagle fans on here, but because I truly don't like the Chiefs and the refs, and I don't care what you say, Mike. I don't like neither of them. Okay, so I am going Eagles on this pick. But I do have an interesting take though, and I'll answer everything that you said, Mike. But I think with the pass catchers that the Chiefs have, I actually think they're going to give the Eagles defense a run for their money, and especially the linebacker core. And the reason for that is the second layer of the defense, right? So yes, Eagles are going to run. I don't worry really too much about that. They're going to get their yards. But the Chiefs, I think, are going to run and get some yards there. But on the pass catching, just with the receivers that they have, the linebackers are going to have to help cover at times. And it's going to be interesting because the Chiefs, I feel like, are deep in pass catchers. Who do I think is going to have a good game? I know everyone's going to say Saquon, so I'll try to go different. I think A.J. Brown's going to have a really good game. And Devonta Smith, I would say, is probably my second favorite player on the Eagles. So I hope he has a good game, but I feel like A.J. Brown's going to get the ball or going to get some targets this game.
Ooh. All right. Tesla, who you got?
I'm going to go Chiefs, man. It's destiny. 3, the first time ever. This is the first time. So eight times you've had a chance. 8 times a team has had a chance to three-peat. The Chiefs are the only one to actually get to the final game to actually have that opportunity. So they've already completed history, if you would say. Um, and they're just ready, man. You give Andy Reid 2 weeks to prepare versus Nick Sirianni, who was being yelled at by fans 1 season ago and wanting to be fired. I mean, you're talking about one of the greatest coaches, if not the greatest coach of all time, in Andy Reid, against his former team on a neutral site. With the poise of Mahomes. And let's not forget, do you know who the leading receiver was on Washington? Just yesterday? Zach Ertz. 11 catches, over 100 yards. What position does Zach Ertz play? Tight end. Well, guess what? Kansas City has a pretty good one of them, right? And if they're not careful, I have a feeling Travis Kelce might go off in this game, win a Super Bowl ring, and potentially retire. Hopefully, just be done with it. But I think Kansas City wins this game. I think the Eagles did a great job of letting Washington move the ball up and down the field and then holding them to field goal attempts. I just don't know how much the legs of Patrick Mahomes are going to come into this. He ran for over 30 something yards, 2 touchdowns, just in this last game. Something about playoff Mahomes and playoff Chiefs. It's just different, man. So I'm gonna take the Chiefs. I do have another week to think about it, week and a half to think about it. So I do think it's a close game, and I hope it's a very good game. But I can't pick it until someone not named Tom Brady can beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. I'm not gonna pick against him.
There's only one
And
person that had.
Joe Burrow too, but yeah.
There's only one person that I know had the refs more than Mahomes, and that was Brady. So that's all I know. Jack, I'll get to you here in a second. Drew, who do you got, and who's going to have a good game?
All right, so I'm taking the Chiefs. Sorry, y'all. Sorry, Jack, especially. I'm taking the Chiefs. Just for kind of what Mike's saying, like until they lose, I guess I can't bet against them. I thought the Lions might be able to do something, and I was very wrong. I think Philadelphia is a very strong team. I think Barkley will have a good game. And on the Chiefs side, I think it's going to be Mahomes. He's going to be the show that wins this game. And I think the score will be a close one, 23-20. Chiefs win.
23-20, huh? Chiefs win. Jack, you're up.
Yeah, no, I have it being close too, honestly, just because of how both of these defenses are designed. I mean, you have 2 mobile quarterbacks. You could argue that Mahomes is a little bit more mobile, right, than Hurts. But yeah, I mean, it's hard. Just like Mike was saying, it's hard to pick against the Chiefs, especially with Mahomes and Reid's track record together. But I don't know. I think I mean, Eagles fan, of course, but I think just this second shot, this redemption shot, I'm taking the Eagles to win it. And I think Saquon will do his thing. I think he'll do good enough. Just because he's found a way all season. But I think just because I feel like there will be so much focus on him that I think we're going to see Hurts have to step up in the passing game like we did in the last Super Bowl they faced off against each other. And then last game against Washington too. So I think because of that, I just think Brown is going to be his best target. I think Goddard's going to be a big time. I'm going to have a big time performance as well. Just catching those short targets, just like how Ertz did for Washington in this last game. But yeah, I'm expecting it to be close, just because Spagnuolo and Fangio, both great defensive coordinators. But I'm taking the Eagles.
Nice, bro.
I'm thinking more of the Eagles. If we could have a good running game, they could have a good running game and squeeze have them squeeze down the defense and have Hurts, do a couple passes. I think having a balanced offense. Yeah, it'll be close, but I'm going for the Eagles.
And I think the Chiefs three-peat is not going to happen. We are going to have the Eagles have their second Super Bowl win because they are going to continue to run the ball with both Hurts and Saquon. Yes, they're probably going to load the box, but that's what we want anyways. Go ahead, load the box.
Who
Whatever.
was the coach the first time they won?
Who?
The Eagles?
Oh, Doug Peterson.
Doug
Doug
Peterson.
Peterson?
Mhm.
So,
You don't remember the Philly special, bro? The Philly special, man.
Couldn't
Come
remember.
on now.
Oh,
Nick Foles, let's go.
oh, Nick Foles.
He was on a tear in that postseason, dude.
Let's go. Lots of things happening on the NFL. We'll get to more Super Bowl stuff in the next couple of episodes. But as far as the coaching carousel has gone, New England ended up. I know we weren't on last week, so I'm gonna have to go through this. New England ended up hiring Mike Vrabel as their head coach. There's some familiarity there since his playing days. Ben Johnson decides to go to Chicago, which was surprising to me. Staying in, not only just staying in the division, but staying in a tough division. Like you're at the bottom of the barrel of this, bud. And I know you're not bringing. It wasn't you that was bringing that culture. That was Dan Campbell's culture and all the aggressiveness. So it'll be interesting how he handles that Bears gig. By the way, Ben Johnson is the offensive coordinator for the Lions, or was, not anymore.
And he's
The
going to be
defensive
calling the plays for the Bears too. I read that yesterday.
Yes, he is. Which I fully expect him to. Like he did a good job calling plays. Like I don't doubt that at all. And I'm sure he'll. I feel like he'll help Caleb Williams in his development. I just don't know how he's going to make it out of that division.
Yeah,
that division's not easy.
It's the best division in football right now, probably.
I'm like, wow. Oh, that's a tough division. The defensive coordinator for the Lions ended up taking the New York Jets job. So he's now the head coach. Aaron Glenn is now the head coach over in New York. Liam Cohen.
Typical Jets move, right? Like fire the defensive guy they already got and
hire another defensive guy.
Defensive guy who just gave up 40-something points to the Commanders.
I'm like,
I feel like it's going to be a one and done on that one. That one might be a quick carousel.
I wouldn't doubt that. I mean, it's not like they were struggling on defense. Like our offense just sucked. And you had Aaron Rodgers and Devontae's.
Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, all those guys.
It's not like you didn't have weapons. Like you had weapons. I just don't get it. Jacksonville gets a new head coach in Liam Cohen. Cohen came over from the Bucks. The Cowboys, in a surprising move. Well, I guess it's not surprising for the Cowboys, but had somebody not even on the radar.
Anyone.
Okay, so they hire Schottenheimer, which I get it. He's got a pedigree name, but you went from a guy in Mike McCarthy who calls the plays, right? And then decide to like fire him and hire a guy who didn't call the plays. What? How does that make sense? I don't get it at all.
I thought for sure they were gonna go after Kellen Moore or Dion. I thought
they were gonna get a deal done with Dion. To be honest with you, like I thought that was gonna happen.
The strings. That's why.
Well, I mean, still okay. Let's say they didn't get the deal done with Dion. There were still other names that were thrown in that pot that I thought had a. Schottenheimer came out of nowhere, dude. It came out of left field. You know, like that foul ball that got hit in the stands, like in inning 3, and then like inning 8, the fan threw it back into the field. Like, what?
And then Jerry Jones kind of put himself and Schottenheimer like on a hot seat already, because he's just like, yes, I understand that this is the riskiest coaching choice anyone could have had. He's never been a head coach before, and I'm like, man, just be quiet. Yes, you're making it worse. You're not making it better.
It's gonna be a circus. I'm just glad the Raiders aren't in that circus bowl anymore.
They should have grabbed Dion What's crazy, if they had Deion as their coach, I probably would have watched the Cowboys next season, like just because he's there. Like that alone's worth it, right?
Would have
Like,
been a show.
if you're the Cowboys,
would.
and I don't know,
It would change.
I
some
guess
things
you
for
already
sure.
have a high viewership and all that, but and plus, I think Deion's shown that this guy, he wants to win. Like he's a very competitive guy. Like I don't know, I would have gone for that, but
I still feel sorry for his players having to take Southwest home. And then the last coaching move so far, Pete Carroll getting hired by the Las Vegas Raiders.
73 years old.
Yeah, we'll see if
Yeah.
he's alive by training camp.
Never know, man. You never know. It's
tell
not
him
like
to be careful with his hips.
He's
but-
established. I mean, you know, good tenure with the Seahawks. Great tenure.
it's not like the Seahawks got rid of him because he was old. It's not like they got rid of him because he didn't. What he didn't have the energy.
Yep.
It was. I mean, it was a surprise move to even Pete Carroll. He was like, "What?"
Yeah. Well, listen, I mean that AFC West has clearly the best coaching in any division at any time in NFL history.
Oh yeah, by far.
I mean, you got college national champion coaches. You got two of them. You got Super Bowl champion coaches. Two of them. You got no three of them. Three of them. Yeah, Sean Payton, Harbaugh, and Harbaugh never won an NFL Super Bowl, but Pete Carroll
Andy
did.
Reid.
So yeah, and Andy Reid. I mean, you're talking about like 4 legend coaches, all in the same that have all gone to a Super Bowl. Yeah, you're right,
Yeah.
John. But I mean, 4 legend coaches all in the same division. I mean, that's incredible, absolutely incredible.
When the news broke out that the Raiders hired Pete Carroll, I was like, "You've got to be kidding me, dude!" Like Pete Carroll, just like I get it. I love the stability that he'll probably bring, the enthusiasm, the hype, and the consistency. Like I just want them to compete. Remember when last draft I was wanting Milton to get drafted because I just wanted to bring somebody in to compete to push everybody else. Right. I'm like, no, they didn't bring anybody in and nobody competed. And look where our quarterback room is. Right. So I'm glad he'll create that culture of like, just come in and compete. We want you to compete. Guys who love ball, who want to compete. But when the news broke out, first thought in my mind was like, seriously, Pete Carroll and Jim Harbaugh again? I'm like, this is round 3 now. That I mean, even in my lifetime of watching football, that I've seen. I watched them at USC versus Stanford, and Stanford getting that upset win over USC, right? And then I was, had the Legion of Boom days against the Niners. Those were the 2 best defenses in the league during those years, right? And then now I'm looking at round 3. I'm like, oh my gosh, these guys just don't go away. What in the world?
I really would love to see Pete Carroll get a Trident gig because that guy chewing his gum like forever haunts my mind.
Definitely.
Like seriously, man, how many times have we seen a Niner game, John, and this guy on the sideline looking like a cow? Just I'm like, dude, he seriously needs to sponsor like a Trident
That'd be
commercial. Right?
perfect.
They gave Marshawn Lynch the Skittles. He's got to do the gum.
No, speaking of, so Pete Carroll had his they announced his hiring today. He had his press conference or whatever, and in the background somebody just yells out while Pete Carroll's talking, just yells out Raiders, and Pete's like, who's that? I'm like, Mark, this is a settle down, blah 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 blah. Come to find out, it was Marshawn Lynch that was in the crowd, is sitting in the press, with the rest of the press, yelling out Raiders to him. He ended up going up afterwards and giving him a hug or whatever, and was like, "Was that you yelling, man?" I was trying to figure out who that was. Anywho, the only head coaching position left open is the Saints, and I don't think I've heard any rumors of anybody wanting that job. Have you guys at all?
That was that call I just had when I had to mute myself a few minutes ago. So.
Oh, well, let me know.
It down, though.
I'll scout for you. Either that, I'll be your OC or your DC. I've run both. Let me know. Run the ball. Run the ball, Tesla. Run the ball.
No,
It'd be
I
too
haven't heard a
much.
word. I haven't heard a peep of that. And it's funny because Dennis Allen's already, I believe he was hired as a defensive coordinator for Chicago. So
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
ex coach already lined up a gig, and now they still don't. New Orleans was lucky to have Sean Payton. Let's say that.
Definitely. I mean, the pairing, right? It's all
But
about the
Drew Brees
pairing.
too, yeah.
Sean Payton getting paired with Drew Brees, that was special. You know, Belichick getting paired with Brady, that was special. We're watching Mahomes paired with Andy Reid, that's special. Um, like I guess we're just waiting for the next special thing. Like, okay, like who's gonna get paired with who? Um, and who's gonna bring out, you know, the next special? I mean, Stafford getting traded over to the Lions and getting paired with, you know, that was special. Ended up getting, I don't think I've ever we as much as Stafford gets like ripped on, like he has more of his receivers, or has given his receivers more accomplishments than any other quarterback. You got the triple crown, you know, the rookie, you know, rookie records, single season records, touchdown records, like you name it, all of them have come from Matt Stafford. Even though he doesn't get those accolades, like all his receivers do. So if I was a receiver, shoot, heck yeah, I would want to go play for Matt Stafford. Dude, give me the ball. Let's go.
So let me ask you, from a coaching perspective, if I told you name top 5 coaches in the NFL,
Right now?
okay, I mean it's gonna be hard right now, right? But in current, let me ask you, does Sean McVay not fall into potentially one of those top 5 spots? I mean, as
I think
much as
so.
I am a Niner fan, like I really think that guy is a great. I think he's a great coach. I really,
Oh,
really do.
hands down. I mean, and there's probably a handful of guys that I would put in that boat. Like Sean McVay, just based off of what he did on the defensive side of the ball this year is incredible. You lost a Hall of Fame D lineman, the most dominant, you know, D lineman in the game, and then still made a huge run, you know, in the playoffs. Mike Tomlin, another guy. Like we were having arguments about who was going to start quarterback in Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh's not going to be great. They're going to be mediocre, blah, blah, blah. But make the playoffs, still made a run. Like there's guys that that coach that know X's and O's, and then there's guys that coach that can teach. And those guys that can teach, Sean McVay, you know, Tomlin, Andy Reid, those guys that can teach just stand out over anybody else. You could have 100, you know, play playbook and be just okay at 100 plays. Or you can have 6 plays and just be absolutely unstoppable at those 6 plays. Like it all depends on how you're ending up teaching your guys. Like if you can't, Michael Jordan was a great example of great player, horrible teacher. He couldn't teach anybody else to do it. Right? Like they tried to put him in the owner role. They tried to put him into president of, you know, operations. Like it just doesn't always translate. You can be the best player at your position, at your sport, and be a terrible teacher.
Yeah.
You know, you could be a terrible coach. Now, I do think, however, that Tom Brady is making headway in that aspect. Like he was teaching while he was playing, so he not only became great in, you know, in his role as a quarterback and as a leader, but I mean, you saw it. Gronk didn't go to watch film. He didn't even know half of the plays. Tom Brady would tell him the plays, right? Like, I call the play. No, just go run this. Oh, you know, he ran a jet route instead. Throw him the ball. Touchdown. Okay. Well, that just happened. What are you going to do? But it's how I feel is that's how you just get guys around you that may not have been great on their own, but we elevated their play. Right? You as a coach, you got to put your guys in the best chance to win. I.e. Buffalo. The coach didn't really put their guys in the best place to win, to be honest with you. I know a lot of guys were going to gripe about, oh, the refs were, they favored cheese, blah, blah, blah. No, were they favored? Sure. Is that what lost them the game? No, hands down, no. Buffalo lost that game. And they lost that game because they were outcoached. Okay? They lost that game because really we're going to run the same play 5 times and only be successful once. Why are we even running this play still? Okay, that's an adjustment that should have been made 3 plays ago. Right? Like, stop. Some guys are really good at adjusting. Some guys aren't. I mean, it just is what it is.
One more thing in that Chiefs game that I think goes unnoticed is how many teams with a minute 54 left in the ball make 2 passes, during that span. I mean, trusting Mahomes to dump it off to Pacheco, right, for the first down, and then trusting Mahomes to, I think it was Samaje Perine the second time. I mean, you literally, as a defense, are just playing stop the run, timeout, right? And out comes Mahomes, doing a little touch pass or a little, like, it just proves how much trust that the coach also has in him as well, right? To be able
definitely
to trust him. I mean, Pacheco made a boneheaded move by not sliding in bounce, right? But I mean, the reality is, I mean, you don't see that happen where a team who's up with the ball, throws it, right? In that situation that could potentially stop the clock. And I was actually really curious to see what would have happened if they did stop him on that third down, because it would have been like a 52-yard field goal. And I was really curious if they would have kicked it, potentially leaving a short field for Buffalo, or do you punt it and try to, pin them inside the 5, or do you go for it? I was really kind of hoping to see what would happen in that situation, because in my head, if I was a coach, I don't know that I could kick that. Like, even with Butker there, I don't know that I'd be kicking a 52-yard field goal to potentially give them, that
a short
right?
field. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
short
I get
field.
it.
But the reality is, yeah.
So if you watch that Perine play, just as an example, what Andy Reid does really well is he's gotten Mahomes to understand and recognize when it's man and when it's zone. He recognized that right off the top. The design of that play alone, just that Perine play, you noticed how Perine was open. He was his defender was 2 to 3 yards behind him. Even trying to run that route, there was 2 receivers on that left side. Perine had to cross the formation to get into that flat. Those 2 receivers on the left side ended up doing slants, taking their defenders with them. The guy that's running man against Perine has to fight through all that traffic to try to stay up with him. I mean, it's good design. It's good. It's a good play call. Like, yeah, I'm going to put in a running back who you don't think I'm going to dump it off to. Like, how many times have they dumped it off to Perine?
Zero.
Exactly. So I'm going to get you to think run, maybe adjust to run. We'll get, if we get our man matchup, then he'll be wide open in the flat. I mean, that's just the great mind of Andy Reid. Like, I'm gonna put my players in the best situation to win. And I mean, he could have ran that play. A lot of teams, like Dan Campbell, for instance, a lot of teams will open up their playbook, even when they're up 20, still opening up the playbook. Check out this trick play that I just drew up. Check out this trick play that we just did this last week. I'm like, you're up 21. Why are you doing trick plays? Why are you showing? You're giving film evidence of what your playbook is to the team that you're playing next week, or in the future, or in the playoffs. Like, you're giving them that. when I was a defensive coordinator, I would stay in my base defense until you beat it. I wouldn't blitz. I wouldn't call anything different. I wouldn't even call man. We would stay in our base defense, and we would continue to stay in our base defense until you beat it. And there were times where I had teams that we would play against that wouldn't even cross the 50-yard line.
Wow.
My offensive coordinator would look at me and go, "Hey, it's 4th down, and we're like on the 49-yard line. Like, can I go for it? It's like 4th and 5." I'm like, "Just go for it. They haven't crossed the 50, whatever." Like, there's no reason for me to open up the playbook if I'm winning.
Mm-hmm.
And Andy Reid knows that. That's why you haven't seen all the exotic stuff yet.
One more chance.
Yeah, exactly. Yet. He's not going to open it up until he needs it. I mean, that's just how good coaches operate, in my opinion, obviously. What do I know? I'm just a schmuck. Couch coach. Till Tesla Mays hires me onto his coaching squad. That's all I got.
You're hired.
Dude, I don't know how much football content we're going to have next week. We might have to talk NBA, which I know is going to get Drew excited. Like, he's been waiting to talk all episode.
All right, we got how many minutes left? Just kidding.
Yeah, go
I just
ahead,
want
man.
you
What
to
you
say
got?
what you told us. I want you to say online what you told us offline about Cade Cunningham.
No, I said it. I said it online.
He
last
did it.
week.
He did it
All right,
online
so
last week.
No, I don't think you did. I think we were just together when you said it.
All right, I actually held up our stream. I wouldn't let it end. No, I admitted I was wrong. Is what I did. Cade Cunningham playing like an all-star. He's more consistent. I think he's up to 25 points a game, 9 assists.
I think we bet dinner on that too at one point, if I'm not mistaken.
You'll have to go back and see the tapes. I have no recollection of that. So.
Oh, don't worry. The tapes are there. I'll find it.
It's all right. It'll get us more views. So all good. Win-win. No, NBA is actually it's starting to get interesting with trade rumors. The kind of usual suspects right now, Zach LaVine, is he going to get traded? They're talking about blowing up the Warriors, talking about blowing up Lakers. Lakers are actually playing well right now. They got Vanderbilt back. They need like one more big man. They need like a center of some kind who's a legitimate center that can play defense. So if they do get matched up the Nuggets, they'll have some kind of shot, unlike previous years. And then Celtics are struggling. I don't know what's wrong with them. I don't know if they're just bored because they're just so much better than everyone else right now, but they're not playing so hot. Knicks are kind of up and down all season, but Karl Anthony Towns is having a great season. Looks like they did the right thing. Earlier, I mean, there was rumors that they were trying to trade everything for Joel Embiid, so it looks like they made the right decision. If that was even an option for them, but because Joel Embiid hasn't played, I think he's played 13 games all season. He looks broken and old and terrible. He kind of did in the Olympics too, honestly. So hopefully that guy can recover and be a force again in the NBA. But he's just looking really, really old and injured. Man, so much to talk about in a couple minutes, but NBA, man.
And you forgot to mention Jimmy Butler. How he's not playing.
Man, Jimmy.
Definitely.
He's trying to pull this against like one of the most old school execs ever. Like, it's just like the wrong. He went to Miami because he loved that toughness and that like grit that Pat Riley has and the whole culture. But then when he's trying to defy it and leave it, like it's not going to work because that culture is not going to put up with anything like that. So. I don't know. It's going to be. I think it's just bad for Jimmy Butler, 35-year-old guy he's not going to get any better. Kind of wasting one of your seasons here left of playing. So it's kind of sad. One of my favorite players for sure, but he should be out there just playing. He can still make what's known.
With your NBA rundown, man, I'm a little shocked. I'm a little shocked that you didn't talk about the Lakers going 12 straight buckets without a single miss. Just
tonight?
getting that. Yeah.
I mean, Anthony Davis, man, 41 points, 23 rebounds. Yesterday, he had. I mean, not yesterday. The last game against the Warriors, he had an amazing game. I think 36, and he's just playing great. They beat the Celtics, which was nice. A nice present for me. They're on a nice little run where they're playing better defense and they're winning more games. So, and then actually just Clippers. Kawhi's playing. You see that reverse layup he pulled on that
I saw
drive
him
and
take
reverse
them out
layup.
with 5 minutes left when they had a run versus Suns tonight. I saw that. Just sitting on the bench doing Kawhi things.
Doing quite good.
It's a sensitive subject. Why you gotta bring that up?
I'm just saying, when he plays, he looks like one of the best
Can
players
we
in the
just
NBA. That's the
like
problem, though.
do me a favor? Just don't comment on Kawhi anymore. Like John and I just don't want to even hear his name. Like I'm serious. I like the only thing that I think may bother me more than your Laker commentary is you talking about Kawhi. Like that might be the only thing. And you know how much I hate the Lakers. So like John and I do not want to hear this unless this is April, May,
I mean,
June,
we can
and we're
get more
talking about
depressing if
Kawhi.
you want to talk about the Suns, though. I'm just saying.
No, well,
I mean,
it seems like the Suns went
they
in to
really,
get Jimmy
really
Butler.
destroyed
traded-
all chances of a Durant
Yeah.
career in Phoenix when they got Beal. When they traded for Beal, it was like everyone knew it was anyone that was anybody knew that was a bad idea on day one when that happened.
Right.
And I was just like, and now we're seeing it. They have no depth in a league right now where you need depth to win. Period. So
Hey, it's Weirdo again.
Weirdo.
What's up? What's cracking? Long time no see.
oh man, my phone's gonna die. Their charger.
Don't worry. We'll wrap this up. For those still watching, please subscribe to us on YouTube at Jam Pack Podcast. Click on that notification button to view us live. We're live every Monday night, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. He said, "What's up? Let's go." Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Jam Packed. Jack, always welcome, my guy.
Yeah,
You
thank
ever
you guys.
want,
Go Birds, baby.
let us know. Go Eagles. Go Eagles. We'll mute Mike for a second so that we can say go Eagles. Wait, hold on. Mute.
I'll be very happy
Yeah,
for you,
go
Jack. if the
Eagles!
win, man.
Anyways. Until next week, guys, be sure you take care of one another. Be safe out there. And as always, we'll see you guys next week. Later, fellas.
See you guys.